We're a minute late.
We're a minute. We should get started.
Hey, just like normal.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Hey.
Well, come on, I need a countdown.
5, 4, 3.
Hello, world!
Eek.
Yes, this is The Geek Life. This is episode 204, and we are live at CONvergence. Everybody whoop it up!
Woo!
Now let's just have kind of a quick shout out. Who's listened to the podcast before? Who's never heard of us?
Woo! Yay!
For once, the audience outnumbers the unknowns, but we have no foot traffic going by here because we are in a shoebox in the Sofitel.
Yes, this is the first time CONvergence has been able to use rooms at the Sofitel, so we are pioneers. We are
Cutting edge.
Yes, we are
Next year we
striking
can
out
be-
a new territory.
We can be
here.
hipster about it
We are
next year. We've
overflow.
done
Yes, we've done the Sofitel.
that.
So as usual, I have to, for the audio listeners sometime in the future, I'm Richard, along with Melissa,
Hi.
and Mike,
Hello.
and Paul.
Hi.
Not enthusiastic enough, Paul.
I'll try better.
Alrighty. So how about that CONvergence? Could the registration just get any more insane?
It is
Year after year.
nuts. It's like Dragon Con lines out there, man.
7,000 people was the number somebody told me.
Yeah, that is the estimate for this year. We
That's-
broke 6,000 last year, and we're expecting
6,500
around
registered,
7,000.
give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They're in the North Tower on the first. Well, okay. You start out on the second floor now because it's gotten that long, and it's over by the dealer's room, and then it goes through a hallway over in the North Tower,
Yep.
and then down the stairs to another line in the North Tower on the first floor, which comes around and then snakes through the entire middle area there, and then comes through the hallway again to get down to the registration area.
Which then has its own kind of delay until you
my-
hear the magic words, "Are you on a panel?" And when you hear those magic words, you go, "Yes," and they say, "Oh, the expedited line is that way." It's like, "Oh, thank you."
Because I made the tactical mistake of showing up only 2 hours before my departing flight. I mean, my panel.
yes.
You know, I was expecting to go through a metal detector and
Yeah.
you know, body scanner.
See, next year I propose we snake the line through Dairy Queen.
See, that worked.
I think they'd be on board with that.
Yeah.
TGI Fridays,
Yeah.
past the bar.
Yeah, past the bar and TGI Fridays.
Get those little, pin pads, walk up and down the aisle. You have a credit card? Yep. Okay.
Yep. That would make everything better. Well,
would.
not everything. That'd make a lot of things better.
They need a guy. I still remember there was one
Actually,
year.
we need to hold panels for the line. We need to
Panels for
send
the line.
musicians. It'd be like Renaissance Festival, and people.
I don't think you
minstrels.
can get away with it anymore, but there was one time back in the 80s in Minicon where a guy was walking around with, those big gallon jugs that you put like ketchup and mustard in with the spray on top. But he had that thing full of grog. And he was just, walking up and down the line giving people free grog,
Yeah, see, I was thinking of getting one of those 2-gallon backpacks that runners use to put water in and just
Camelback.
fill it with
Got one of those.
scotch. And just,
See, now you're causing flashbacks to my brewery days, which is Summit tested, and they decided not to go with it. Basically, they were trying to get in at the Metrodome, and they couldn't afford to get a tap there, so they tested out a system, which was you took a Cornelius keg, which was their soda pop keg, put that, chill it, put that in a jacket so it stays cold, put a CO2 canister next to about this big. That was an all backpack mechanism that you go around serving beer to people.
nice.
And it was like, can I have one of those? No.
No.
We could build one.
Yeah.
We can make this happen.
Yeah.
We're nerds. We
Mike's
can do
into
it.
the whole DIY thing. He could,
Can you print
he
it?
could print it.
We have the tools.
pressurization.
We have the talent.
We have the technology. Yeah.
We have the technology.
Melissa,
Print
do
me
we
a
have
keg system.
Do we have
Was
videos?
that?
Print me a keg system.
We do have videos.
Ooh.
We do have videos.
Bring us on topic.
Yeah, bring us back.
Well, that is
Bring it home.
my job.
Bring it
know.
home.
Topic?
Aside from ranting interminably about obscure things no one cares about, my other job is to put us back on topic.
All right, so on DVD and Blu-ray this week, for new titles, not a whole lot, because it's the middle of summer and they're expecting people to be frolicking outside for some reason. But one of the exciting things that's coming out this week on DVD is 56 Up. which is the part of the Big Up series, which is this huge documentary project that started in England in, 1965?
I think that's
Yeah.
It started with 14 7-year-olds in 1965, and they asked the 7-year-olds, what are your thoughts on life, and what do you like, and all that stuff. And then they followed up with the exact same people every 7 years. And so 7 up is when they were 7, 14 up is when they were 14, 21 up. 56 up is the current one. Yeah, and it's been amazing watching these people change over the years. So not only is 56 up coming out this week, they're also releasing a big box set of all of them, which is very nice. And I presume with that release, they might also be hitting streaming services again, which is...
They were all on Netflix up to...
Yeah, they come on and off of Netflix, so I presume they'd probably be coming back up. See what I did there. Yeah, moving on. So also, James Moran, screenwriter, British screenwriter, is here at CONvergence this year, and his movie Tower Block is coming out on video this week. And I saw Tower Block at Fantastic Fest last year, and it was very good. It's kind of like Assault on Precinct 13, only in a British...
Council flats?
Yeah, the big buildings,
They're not quite projects,
It's a tower
but
Yeah, they're not quite projects. I don't know what the term
It's a tower
is.
block.
It's a tower block. I'm trying to explain for Americans, and it's a hard thing. But
Cedar Square West.
yes, so it's a bunch of people essentially trapped on the top floor or one of the higher floors of a tower block apartment building. In catalog titles, there are far more titles coming out this week. We have a Blu-ray of The Producers coming out. The
Mel Brooks.
The Mel Brooks,
Original.
Zero Mostel, Gene Wilder producers. Also, Kentucky Fried Movie on Blu-ray. That makes me happy. Yes.
That'll be fun.
Jaws is coming out in a different Blu-ray edition. I know it's been out of Blu-ray.
Sorry.
It's summertime. It's time to watch Jaws. The Trouble with Harry, Hitchcock's Trouble with Harry, which is a very strange Hitchcock film. It's kind of this broad comedy about a dead body. Well, the dead body isn't unusual for Hitchcock. It's the comedy about it. Also, E.T. is coming out in a Blu-ray edition, and Kino is bringing out the autobiography of Nikolai Kusko. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Have some more scotch.
Thank you, Glenlivet. Also, the Choice Collection is bringing out a bunch of cheap-ass DVD titles, including a couple of Rita Hayworth movies. I just drank scotch. Hi. Rita Hayworth movies, one being Miss Sadie Thompson, which is interesting if you can ever see it in 3D. Unfortunately, the DVD is not 3D, but Rita Hayworth in 3D? Yeah. Also, Rita Hayworth's Salome is coming out on DVD under that title, and several other things. Title of the week, there wasn't much for Title of the Week this year, but we did have Rainforest Yoga Poses with Traveling Yoga Berries at Wildlife Learning Center.
Yoga berries?
Yoga Berries!
Is that like Yogi berries? Or?
I'm thinking Traveling Yoga Berries is a version of the Traveling Woolberries. That is my only explanation.
Is it like the wild thornberries?
The sad thing is
I don't
probably
know.
get money for that.
Are they shade grown?
I don't even... Are they organic?
Are they organic yoga? They better be organic. I mean,
Yeah, if they're yoga.
vegan too. Yoga
Well, let's do
berries.
Are you looking up yoga berries?
I'm looking up yoga
It sure
berries.
is.
Yoga
Yoga
berries.
for children and families. The yoga berries. It's kind of like booba, but worse.
This is kid yoga?
Yes, that's what it says. From the UK. It's UK. It goes
it's
with
just-
convention.
Oh, British people.
British people. There we go. Stupid Canadians.
So it's thematic.
It's thematic, yes. Suspended hosting. So I get suspended. This was a bad site.
No yoga berries for
Now
you.
show me where the yoga berry touched you.
Well, come on, you realize most yoga positions are designed to get men into trouble.
And women to show what they've got.
Okay.
Yeah, the universe is mad at you.
Apparently.
And the show me where the yoga berries touched you should be the title of this episode.
Mark it, Mike. Mark it. There we go.
Write it down.
That's what notes are for.
Brief story, lightning round. There's apparently a Crow remake, but they got James O'Barr involved in it now.
Well,
I guess he needs a paycheck. I don't know.
probably.
Supposedly, Stan Lee has kind of slipped up that Doctor Strange and Black Panther are in line for Phase 3,
Huh.
which will be coming out in 2016 and 2017.
Okay.
You know, a Doctor Strange movie could be really bitching, but
Well,
you
wasn't-
really got to get the right lead for
Yeah.
Wasn't there a Doctor Strange movie back in the 80s or early
There
90s?
was a
with
bad
Jeffrey
Marvel
Combs?
Yes, there was unfortunately.
Jeffrey Combs, wasn't that what was that movie?
That was Dr. Mordred.
And it was supposed to be Doctor Strange.
There was a Doctor Strange movie. It was a pilot on CBS of sorts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking crazy talk.
No.
Was it as bad as that
Unfortunately, he's
David
not.
Hasselhoff
not.
version of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No, I
That was
the David
special.
Hasselhoff Shield. The Doctor Strange is just bad.
Yeah.
I have to pick on it. It's David Hasselhoff.
Sorry.
It's like the national pastime.
Doctor Strange is one of those that either it's going to go well or it's going to be the skidoo of its era. I mean, it's just.
I want the skidoo.
But you really got to have an actor with presence.
Like Jackie
Yes.
Gleason and LSD.
No.
Okay.
So yeah, the Marvel lineup is shaping up. Guardians of the Galaxy, August 2013, the same month that 50 Shades of Grey comes out.
Rocket Raccoon.
Or as I described it on Twitter, it's 50 Shades of Oversexed Housewives versus Guardians of the Profit Margin. Take your pick, which one.
And I will still state that the best version of 50 Shades of Grey is the audiobook as done by Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes.
And that might be what it
They
takes
got him to
get-
read portions of it.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Gilbert Gottfried.
but the way they
goes
do it is
for
then they show all these women like at the exercise place or out walking somewhere listening to it on their headphones and so you're hearing Gilbert Godfrey and they're like, ooh. It's like
He's barely tolerable on a good day.
yeah.
Avengers 2, May 2015. Ant-Man, November 2015. And then 3 unspecified titles for May and July of 2016, and 1 in May 2017.
I want Howard the Duck.
Really?
You're getting Rocket
Isn't the
Raccoon.
first one enough for you?
Wait a minute. What was the in the 70s the Marvel disco girl?
Dazzler.
Dazzler. They got
She's part of X-Men.
A Dazzler movie. That would
Except
kind of
they
be
have
awesome.
to set it in the 70s.
Yes, it
just
has
so
to
we
be a
can catch
period
it up.
piece. It has to be Boogie Nights with superheroes. We'll just move on.
Moving on to things that really should stop. Terminator
Like
5.
my brain.
Terminator 5 is no longer a sequel. It is a reboot for 3 more movies. The first one will come out in June 2015. My God, please. I love Terminator. I love Terminator
We
2.
have no ideas
Please make
and we
it
want
stop.
money.
Yeah.
Please make it stop.
Let sci-fi do it.
Hollywood's
No.
doing it.
I mean, seriously, 20 years from now, I'm going to have a counselor going, okay, now I want you to show me on this doll where the Terminator movies touched you.
Terminator's making me drink.
The Radio Times says that the next Doctor Who lead actor will be announced before the Christmas special films in September. We don't know who it is yet, so Fess, you don't have to cover your ears. They haven't said who it is yet, they're just saying they're going to tell us who it will be.
Yeah, but I also didn't know that there was going to be a change coming soon.
Have you not seen this?
trying not to see anything.
Whatever filter you've got on Twitter is amazing.
I know, Twitter, Facebook,
Holy
Google
cow,
Plus is
Fez,
full
Tumblr.
about
Fez,
that.
I hate to break it to you.
Wait, what?
Bruce Willis's character was dead the whole time, and she's a man.
I did.
Oh, and Rosebud is a sled.
Oh crap.
Okay.
Snape kills Dumbledore.
In the bad news category, Jim Kelly passed away at the age of 67. He was a martial artist and also an actor in such wonderful
Diamonds.
films as Enter the Dragon, but then it kind of
Tattoo
went downhill.
Connection.
Tattoo Connection's a great one.
More titty
Black
and a
Samurai.
Black Samurai's
Black
great.
Samurai.
Never
Your White Knight, baby. That was a good one. Thanks to Rich, we have the trailers of all this, which gave me a
If
tape
you-
of all.
If nothing else, go
Chopsocky
onto
trailers.
YouTube, look for a trailer for the Tattoo Connection. It is the one trailer I've seen in my life that has more gratuitous naked chest shots of any movie I've ever seen. just in the trailer. They cut to it for no reason. It's
Yeah.
totally out
like,
of context.
Here's why you should see this movie. Jiggle, 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 jiggle. What? Also,
Well, that's
sorry, you also
advertising.
have it in one of those Tattoo Connection or the Samurai one. You also have the infamous, the four guys standing there, the explosion goes off, and then they leap back a half second after the explosion so you can see them through the smoke. It's like, good timing, guys, good timing.
Now, wasn't Black Belt Jones also Jim Kelly?
Yes.
Yes. I love that movie because it ends at a car wash and the entire fight happens in soap suds. It is the cleanest fight ever. It's amazing.
And then he was in 3 The Hard Way
Yeah.
with Fred Williamson, and I can't remember the third. It might have been Roundtree, coming off the Shaft.
Oh, man.
Um,
I don't remember.
But that has to be the apex of the black hero versus the evil white establishment.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful fun. Richard Matheson passed away at the age of 87.
Very sad.
Not that he was writing a whole lot anymore, but yeah.
But, you know, he pretty much formed entire decades of sci-fi.
Yeah, I just feel a little sad that he lived long enough to see how horrible I Am Legend turned out to be when
Well,
they screwed up.
They tried. They tried, and then the studio went in and messed it up.
And final thing in the lightning round, there's been talk for years of a Warhammer 40,000 MMO, and it looks like it might actually happen. Behavior Interactive announced Warhammer 40,000 Eternal Crusade, which will be out for the Xbox One, the PS4, and the PC in late 2015, which is a good thing because GW needs something that makes money.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing.
Well, if they'd actually lower their prices a little bit, we might actually buy stuff from them.
You know, the scary thing is I've been watching the releases for The Hobbit because I thought I'd, get back into the specialty battle game, which was a fun game. And not only are they priced obscenely high, the stores aren't even bothering to carry them anymore. They're not even buying the new stuff that's coming out. So, in any event, so moving on to a couple of news items. Last obituary, I promised, Douglas Engelbart passed away at the age of 88.
There are a lot of dead people this week.
There were a lot of dead people this week. Now,
I
he's
see dead people.
not terribly well known outside of computer science circles, but in the 60s he was a very seminal figure. In the 60s, there were two strains of thought where computer science was going. One was artificial intelligence, and the other was more human augmentation. And Engelbart was definitely in that second category. In 1962, he published a paper called Augmenting Human Intellect, a Conceptual Framework, in which he described a working word processor years before one had ever been invented. But what he's mostly well known for people in the industry was an event that occurred in December of 1968, which has since been referred to as the mother of all demos. This was the first public demonstration of a computer mouse. He had a working system with a word processor, hypertext and hyperlinking, long-distance computer networking, and real-time online collaboration in 1968.
Did he say, and one more thing?
He didn't say "and one more thing," but a lot of his work ended up at Xerox PARC,
Yep.
where it became the Alto. And then, of course, Steve Jobs and his band of pirates got to visit Xerox PARC, and they came out a few years later with a Macintosh.
Yep.
So a lot of these ideas did get into the mainstream computing. It just took well over 10 years for it to happen, which is fairly typical. And for those of you who are curious, there is a video recording of the demonstration actually up on YouTube. You can literally just search for "the mother of all demos," and you will find it. Fess, I'm curious if you have an opinion on this.
Oh, I have opinions.
I know you have opinions. Image Comics dropped a bomb this week. They are starting to sell digital comics online on their web store without DRM in EPUB, PDF, and CBR and CBZ formats.
Cool.
So
That's image though.
So my first question is this like when EMI started putting music on iTunes, in iTunes Plus without DRM? Is this the first crack in the dam? Or a couple of years later, is this going to prove that they're the only ones who did it?
It's cracking the dam.
I think it's
a
the
different-
first crack in the
yeah.
dam.
Yeah.
Because this means you actually own the comics now versus just renting, and they can be revoked from you at any time. Supposedly, if there's no DRM, that means you can take it off of the system in which Comixology, or if it's their own thing, can't just revoke it like Amazon can for any like e-purchases. and-
Yeah, that's the thing
iTunes.
that's very important to me is it's not locked into one application. So
Yeah.
you can download the multiple formats. You can read it on any device using whatever piece of software you care to use. And I'm not a big comics person. I've really only got one I read, which is Knights of the Dinner Table. But I've got a stack at home that is, pretty soon it's going to be as tall as I am. I have nowhere else to put the bloody things. I'd much rather have them digitally so I don't have to worry about the fire marshal touring my house one day and telling me that I'm a problem waiting to happen.
There are two major factors when it comes to the print industry trying to go digital, and that is basically it's been DRM or not. Do people actually own what they're buying from Comixology, Amazon, iTunes, etc. And also the price. Why would I pay $4 for a digital format that is 20-some pages that you don't get to keep fully, but this is like one chink in the armor there. But then again, still $4 for digital, which you really shouldn't be $4 because you can go get the real thing and then you have it. You have all the art there and whatnot. You can make that argument. I can go on a tear about MP3s and why they're not supposed to be worth $1, but that's
You
a
wouldn't be-
different thing. You can argue
wouldn't be the
all these
first, and you
different
won't be the
factors.
last.
Yeah, but this is certainly something that's going to get in there. People are going to be looking. Hey, I actually am going to own my stuff.
Yep.
So that'll probably be a good lead-in, and I think that's the best way to go about it before they start looking at dropping the price on them. Personally, I would be more inclined to quote rent a comic for $1. Yeah, I could read a comic, and if it gets taken away, I'm not going to be too angry if I paid $4 and I could have actually owned it, and then they took it away. You can cycle around this.
Well, what if you had a Netflix deal like where you paid Image, $8, $9, $10 a month, but you got to read everything in the library?
I would be all over that.
I would find that very appealing, actually.
I would read a lot more comics.
Yeah.
Well, that might be the future for some of that as the subscription format as opposed to the selling individual format.
Right.
I don't know
I think
how-
it'd be easier to track too. That'd be much less infrastructure.
It's just
to
would it's just
deal
would you
with.
make enough money to pay your artists would be the concern, I
Yeah,
think.
that is.
So what's the break even point? How many customers do you need?
Yeah, but the flip side there is that you have a much more reliable and predictable revenue stream.
Yep.
So you can figure out how much product you can afford to buy and put in the pipeline.
Yep.
I guess my last question on that would be, what does this mean for comic stores? I mean, in the short term, it doesn't mean anything, but in the long term, if that trend continues, there's always going to be a place for print comics.
People like things they can hold on to.
But will it become more of a?
There's a light coming from your pants.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's what she said. But does that turn the print market into more of a collector's thing? Because it's going to be the people who really want the physical print that are going to go out and get
It's
it.
going to be too late soon.
It's already been a collector's thing because they're horrible at
Too late.
advertising that it exists to the regular people,
I'd argue that, but I can't. All right.
A store near me is actually going to be looking at liquidating their back issues. 'Cause they just don't sell. People aren't coming in to buy them anymore. And you do get people that want the new thing that's just coming out. You still got people that want to come in and get it right away versus waiting for the collected trade. So, but with this, I don't know. I've known Marvel with like a lot of their comics, their newer comics. Like if you go to the back of the print comic you get, there's like a sticker in there that has like a code. You can get the digital version of it for free. So kind of a workaround or whatnot, but this is something to watch.
I think it'll be interesting to see how this plays out in the long run. But this is where it started. Stop me if you've heard this one before.
Stop.
I've actually got a few stories that have me start that way.
Yeah.
Did you know there's a security vulnerability in Android?
Crap, no?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, wait, I don't use Android.
Blue Box, which is apparently another. It's funny how these stories always start with the name of a security firm you never heard of. And Blue Box is a fairly ironic name for a computer security company. But apparently, there has been a flaw since Android 1.6. And what it does is it allows you to modify an application executable without invalidating its cryptographic hash. So to put this in perspective, the way that the Android store works and Windows 8 and iOS do something very similar is when an application is published, you have this big binary that you then run an algorithm on, and you get this cryptographic hash at the end. And the idea is that, okay, the next time you go to run the application, the device can run that same hash against, or that same algorithm against the application, compare it to the one that's embedded in there, and if they're the same, then you are highly confident the application has not been tampered with.
Yep.
That's the theory. Apparently now somebody's figured out how to tamper with an Android APK without upsetting that cryptographic hash, which will be a lot of fun. The biggest danger of this is that if an application does this in the wild, what it will do is go after things that are pre-installed by handset makers or by carriers. Those applications usually have deeper access into the roots of the operating system than the stuff you just buy off the application store. And whereas there's not, if you're buying stuff from like the Google Play Store, there's probably not much danger because they're going to be scanning for these kinds of things. But with Android, if you are so inclined, you can buy from third-party app sites. You can just receive an APK in the mail that some stranger sends you, and you put it on your phone, and then all of a sudden your phone bricks and says, "Pay me $20 to get your phone back."
Look at this email I got from the Ukraine. It must be safe.
What? There's a prince in Nigeria who needs to move money? And start your rumor mills. Apple has trademarked iWatch in Japan.
In Japan.
So guess what we're going to hear? We're going to hear nothing else
iWatch
for the
does.
next few months.
Yeah.
Does anybody really want a watch computer?
That would have been my dream in 1982.
Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, the watch phone.
The only thing I've heard that would be neat for a watch computer is if you combined it with Google Glass. So you actually had a full wearable system going. So some data here, data you don't necessarily need to see right away with maybe a vibration reminders, more recent data here that you do need to see, maybe some hyper reality eventually in Google Glass, the overlay things. That was one suggestion I heard on another podcast I listened to. It's like, okay, I could see that as an extension of the whole wearable computing thing, having multiple devices that talk to each other. That would be kind of neat. But the watch on its own,
Well, the real...
Well, wait. I've got another theory.
iWatch who does.
I think there are security turrets, like in Portal. They shoot guns at intruders. You place them around.
Well, now
I mean, they already look kind of Apple-like, and
you're thinking the big things.
yeah, I'm thinking.
Actually, the Mac Pros. The Mac Pros. I heard somebody describe as, yes, if you want your server room to look like aliens, then put them all across the floor.
Yeah.
But no, the iWatch. The other thing you did make me think of when you said security is, Apple bought and hasn't done anything with it yet with fingerprint reading.
Oh, that's right.
And so there's a whole, and they made some comment last year about the iPhone becoming essentially the one-stop security shop, as it were, and nobody knows if that means the next iPhone will have fingerprint recognition on it or not, but they do own this firm. We just don't know what they're doing with it. A watch format could make sense
Right.
if you need a security token.
There is one application that I would see being useful for, aside from, I wonder what time it is, would be if you paired it with your phone so that if you got SMS messages
Right.
or Twitter feeds or something like that. Because usually, especially when your phone goes ba-da-ding because there's an email in there, you're taking your phone out of your pocket, looking at it, because what you're trying to look at is, do I need to deal with this now, or can I ignore it for a while?
Yeah.
And if all I got to do is go, oh yeah, I can ignore that.
Yeah, if you hook it into the notification system, which in iOS has been getting better and better over time, that would be a neat thing.
And yet, for some reason, my wife still sends me stuff in iMessages, and it never gets to my phone.
I still want it to shoot things.
Let's see.
All right.
Yeah, but
Proceeding.
we know you, so.
A few weeks ago, Microsoft announced the Surface Pro in Japan with 256 gig, and now they're selling it in the States for $1,200. To which my first question is, why didn't you just wait until the Haswell Surfaces come out?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm going to rush out and no, I'm not going to get one.
They're practically giving away the current Surfaces at every conference they hold. You go to build and they'll give you one for $99.
Please take an RT.
So they're introducing a new model now. This doesn't make a lot of sense.
I mean, $1,200, that was my TV a couple years ago.
Actually, every Mac I've ever bought has been at that price or lower. Every single one.
I think my very first Mac was $4,000. That
Well,
was the original Mac SE16.
Okay, most people's first Mac was about that much.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the cream box, the black and white screen that was about that big.
The
No,
Banana
I-
2000.
I
The
remember
Banana
paying-
2000, yes.
I remember paying $2,000 for my slate gray Mac Pro Tower, which is still a good box. But anyway, at the E3, Microsoft announced that they were going to be giving away 2 games a month to Xbox Live Gold subscribers between now and the release of the Xbox One.
Please forgive us. Sorry.
Pretty much. Well, they made
The
good on that
Xbox
promise.
180, the Xbox One,
The Xbone,
the Xbox.
which now we should just call it Xboned.
Yep.
Yeah, so 2 games in July. The first one is out now. It's called Defense Grid: The Awakening, which is a tower defense game that I've never heard of, but apparently it got good numbers on IGN. On July 16th, Assassin's Creed 2. So you know it's in the bargain bin. But still, not bad. Also, in the Stop Me If You've Heard This One again, Ubisoft got hacked. 58 million people's usernames and email addresses and their encrypted passwords.
Wow.
But if your password was password, it's too late. We already know what it looks like after it's been hashed. They claim credit card numbers were not taken.
Sure.
Okay.
I want my
Really?
downloadable content.
This just seems that between this and there was a place we worked at, or where Paul and I worked. They had a happy hour a couple weeks ago. The bar's
Yes.
point of sale terminal got compromised with malware, and it was skimming credit card numbers.
Boy.
Damn it! I'm going back to cash.
Yeah, I love getting the email from our internal HR saying, "So about those charges on your credit card." What?
You've been checking them out, right? All right. So I don't know. Do you want to open it up to the floor? And the only other news
Yeah,
stories.
we have these lovely people here.
Yeah, well,
We
the
should
only
talk
other
to
news
them.
stories I have here are more things about like the NSA thing, and now the EU is finding out it was getting surveilled. And
Samsung bought Boxy.
I'm just
We
too
have no
depressed
clue
by
why.
that. Oh, Samsung
Yeah.
bought Boxy. Well,
No, there's something,
they got to do something with all that profit they're making off of Android, right?
mad
So they
money.
can put Boxy inside their TVs, which I don't seem to be selling. I don't know why.
I just have a Roku and I'm happy.
All for the Roku.
Unfortunately, I'll have to replace my TV so I can get an Apple TV or a Roku because they're all HDMI out.
Oh, wait.
Woe is me. I'm
Wait,
the
you
first
don't have a
world
TV with a
problem. It's all component.
What sort of... Do you read books on cuneiform tablets? Or... Dear
No,
God,
I kept
man.
it because it is a CRT rear projection. It does beautiful black levels. The color fidelity
True,
is
true.
excellent. True, it does top out at 1080i,
Okay.
but it's a damn good looking 1080i.
Okay.
Especially considering Netflix is topping out at 720 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I'd be $2,000 for that SOB box. I am going to ring that thing into the ground. It is a piece of furniture in and of itself. If I
Fair.
replace it with a new flat panel, I get all this stuff on top I don't know where to put.
You'd have space too.
What do I do with my Kinect sensor?
Glue to
What do I
the
do with my
wall.
Wii bar?
Glue that to the wall.
I'm
too.
sure there's an IKEA solution to all of this.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Those canny Swedes.
So is there anything people out there want to talk about or ask about or comment about or complain about? How about that CONvergence registration?
Someone tweeted 23 minutes ago, There are beers being passed around the line.
That's amazing.
Water and candy from the staff, which is really nice.
When I was walking
That
over
was
here.
also followed up with, first time I've been drunk before I got my badge.
CONvergence.
My friends were saying they're bored, and I said, you need booze. It's effective against boredom. It's super effective. They said, we didn't think we needed to register.
Oh, so I was thinking that we need to take the Disneyland theme park approach to our lines, because if you stand in line to Disney, you are never bored. Like half the ride is just waiting, and you're entertained the entire time. So we need to work on this.
I'm getting this
clearly.
image of driving the poor people insane by having a bunch of people purposely looking short, going, "Welcome to our world."
It's a small world.
The queue was singing the Star Spangled Banner
Yeah.
about, 10, 15 minutes.
Yes,
Very
I'll
nice.
should have lied about that.
Hey, I did that when I was in line.
It's a geek world after all.
I think everybody in line should have like a 1-minute slot where they get to entertain everybody else in line, then it passes to the next person and the next person.
Are they going to have a fast pass situation like Disney?
A fast pass,
Come
yes.
back at 4:30.
Very nice. No, that would be very good.
You really, they should have had like plants, like within the line.
Okay, wait. Plants like people on Concom planted incognito in the line, or like green things.
The first thing.
Okay.
So I was gonna say, there's
Dressed
plants
in
all over the
brown
place. in the
robes
building.
with the Bible. And then
Okay.
every once in a while they start chanting from Monty Python and whack themselves in the head with a book.
Okay.
That would be.
Okay.
Maybe thinking about whacking themselves in the head.
People in costume
Yeah.
need stuff
People in
to
costume?
find to get people to do that, though.
Flash mob.
Flash mob.
It flash mob.
Essentially is a flash mob at this moment. You just gotta get them to do stuff.
It's kind of a slow mob.
There you go.
At this point, you hire improv everywhere to do things with them.
Yes.
Film it all. Welcome
Yes.
to CONvergence. Okay, now everybody do the hokey pokey.
I kind of wish that Improv Everywhere had like an emergency line. It's like, we need entertainment stat. Crowdsourced entertainment. There we go.
Here the
You realize-
helicopters come in.
You realize if you're calling improv everywhere saying we need entertainment stat, they'll be like, make something up.
Okay.
Point to Mike.
Now, pretend that I'm giving you money. You must be a consultant. Fun stuff.
Yeah, on my way over here, walking, past this horrendous line, there was a woman, one of the volunteers, pushing a cart with a garbage bin on it, and she had a garbage song. She was singing a garbage song, getting people to throw garbage into the garbage bin.
Whatever it takes.
And I thought, man, I love this place. I love it so
Banding
much.
together in crisis.
Yes.
Wow.
So people listen to us.
There was she had a full-blown garbage song with with a chorus and verses, multiple verses.
With a bridge, even?
A bridge. It was amazing. I was walking right behind her and it was a very long line, so I got to hear a lot of it. It was pretty astonishing. That was amazing.
Melissa, could you talk a little bit about how PowerPoint karaoke got started?
How did PowerPoint? Well, it started at CONvergence,
I know,
oddly enough.
but I don't
Yeah.
know where the idea came
Well, just for the benefit of audience people who don't know, can you first explain what PowerPoint karaoke is?
PowerPoint Karaoke is a show that Bill Steitler and I do at the Bryant Lake Bowl on a monthly basis, and also at CONvergence on a yearly basis, where Bill and I put together a PowerPoint presentation of slides that make absolutely no sense at all. They're nuts, they're weird, whatever. They have no relationship to one another, and then we just put them all together in little segmented presentations. And then we have improv comedians go up one at a time, and they have to give a presentation based on these nonsense slides. And
Which they've never seen before.
And they have never seen the slides before. So it's all off the cuff, and one by one, they'd spend 30 seconds on each slide and go, what the hell? All right, and this is what I'm going to talk about now. And they have 6 minutes to complete their presentation. So that's the show. The other people have done that format before, I believe it started in Germany, but I think Bill and I are the only ones that Germany. I don't know.
But are you sure the Germans did it intending it to be comedy? It sounds more like a punishment for the guy who screwed up the sale.
Yes. and there's been a thing running at South by Southwest called Battle Decks, which kind of is very similar format. But yeah, that's. I think
Comic
that's
Sans,
where...
I choose you.
Yeah. But anyway, that's kind of the origin of that. Is I think Bill said, "Hey, that's interesting. Let's do a show kind of based on that concept," and we kind of went our own direction with it. The group presentation at the end is all us. That's something like, "How do we end the show? Let's have everybody work together." All right, yeah, and sing a happy song. So that's how that happened, and it's been going for a couple of years now. I can't remember. This is year number 3 now.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Loving it.
Anyone else?
What's on people's minds?
Why do you listen to us?
Well, about half
Dear
of them
God,
do.
why?
Listen,
Whoa, oh, wait.
You might have a bias.
Yeah. Yeah, you're biased. Yes.
He's allowed. If it was not biased, I'd be worried.
Yeah, and so would I.
So what are people looking forward to on CONvergence weekend? What's going on this weekend that's interesting?
I have my
no
panels
idea.
here on. Okay, so what I'm showing the audience is part of my badge is they give panelists their own little separate badge that
See,
has
I'm an
the
introvert.
list of panelists that you are on, and mine is two-sided. It's the only one that's two-sided because they put me on 20 panels.
I was told Paul Cornell is a close second to you.
Paul Cornell also has tech rehearsals on his. These are all panels. If I added my tech rehearsals, it'd
Now,
be
I was
22
told they
or
didn't give her
23.
one at the desk because they didn't have enough plastic. So I mentioned your name, you're like, no, we wouldn't have done one for her. There's not enough plastic here to do that.
That's amazing.
What's this? You have a ribbon on yours? And
Oh yeah, I got a Veneratio Voluntararius. It's Latin. CONvergence
venerated volunteer.
Yeah,
I see.
venerated volunteer badge. I believe for doing the grid booklet at the last minute. And then there's also an All Hail Connie Mark II ribbon on mine, which I got from Chris Jones because he does stuff like that. But anyway, going back to the question of what am I looking forward to right now, I'm looking forward to SmackDown, which is at 8:30 p.m. tonight.
Woo.
Yay, SmackDown! Which is one of the shows that I most look forward to every year just because it's absolutely silly and we have a great crowd and they laugh at everything. And it's just getting bigger and bigger every year and it gets funnier and funnier because we work with very talented people. But for the listening audience, what SmackDown is it's predicated on those arguments you have late at night with your nerdy friends where you go, could Captain America beat Wolverine in a fight? And then you debate for 15 minutes over this ludicrous premise because these things don't actually exist. But
well,
this is an
Captain
entire...
America and Wolverine have been in a fight.
Well, I know, but okay, Doctor Who and Wolverine in a
There we
fight.
go.
I'm fine.
There we go.
And sometimes GLaDOS chimes in.
Yes,
Did they,
yes.
but did they
that
ever
was a great
resolve?
year.
Did they ever resolve Jesus versus Superman?
Jesus. I'm putting Jesus in next year. All right. Jesus.
Because the problem is Jesus will just keep coming back every 3 years.
I know. Okay, so the SmackDown panel is an actual tournament built on this. So we have a panel of experts, I'm making air quotes, experts, who debate on whether so-and-so can beat other so-and-so in a fight. And we have 16 contestants whittled down to one winner.
Which is usually like Ant-Man or something.
It's usually a Muppet. This year we don't have any Muppets.
And why not? It's got to be lovable, furry old Grover.
Because there aren't many spies in the Muppets.
No, okay.
There's that Would You Like to Buy an Oak guy, but I don't think he's a spy so much.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, not really. It's just, I did consider finding Muppet analogs for every single contestant this year and just running with all Muppets. But that sounded like work.
Well, 20 panels, God forbid you should work.
I know. It all adds up, though. I'm looking forward to PowerPoint karaoke. That's always a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to all my panels, really. There's a lot of fun stuff on
When
there.
is PowerPoint?
When? It is on Saturday at 2 p.m. in Atrium 6.
Where's Atrium 2?
Atrium 2 is on the same floor as Atrium 6.
They're
That
labeled.
narrows it down.
They're labeled.
Second floor, North Tower.
It's second floor, North Tower. I think it's across the big balcony area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Walk
as you
in a circle
come
to find
past the Bloomington and Edina and turn immediately right, and you get all the atrium rooms around those balconies.
Yep.
I think it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is on like the far corner, and then there's 8 of them all the way around.
So let me ask this just as kind of an impromptu poll. Who comes to these things for the guests? Anybody come here for the guests? Okay,
We got
there's
it one kind of.
waving hand. Okay, who comes here for the parties?
Yeah.
Yep.
Some very enthusiastic, yes.
A very enthusiastic person there. Who's here because they have nothing else to do? Or who's at CONvergence because they have nothing else to do?
We've got one.
We
All
got
right,
one.
all right.
Wow, I am just
And we've got it
bombing.
kind of back there. All right.
Left, right, and center. Who comes for the panels? Who comes for the program? Okay, that's
Many.
better.
That's
and
awesome.
Now we got some of them. And now who comes to these things because they know her?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm here because of her.
I think that got more hands than any other question.
We all have a geek crush, don't we?
I was pointing at for the listener. I was pointing at Melissa. Half the room raised their hand.
God.
We got that on tape.
And you will never let her forget. Wow, what a
And
reaction.
then it'll go to
Thank you,
YouTube.
How many people are here at CONvergence for the first time? Got 1, 2, 3. Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'd like to point out my cousin is in the back row.
That's why you're putting
Okay,
the
so I walked up to registration yesterday because they had early registration, and that's a smart thing to do, as many of you have found out.
Especially today.
Yeah, so I went into early registration, and when I finally got up there, the gentleman behind the computer didn't know me, but he goes,
Wait.
I know. It happens. It really does.
Probably knows Monty then.
He didn't know me, but he said, "There's another Kirscher in the database. Do you know who that is?" And I went, "There's another Kirscher?"
Which is what I said when I was looking up things.
Yeah, I was going through my head. It's got to be somebody in my family, but there aren't many of them. Who could possibly? My dad's not here. What the hell? So, that was bothering me until Mariah tweeted me.
Yeah, I was
I'm
like,
going to be CONvergence's in first time,
Yeah,
and
I was like, hey,
wow, mystery solved. This is amazing.
what did I say? I said she's got to know, or there can't be that many Kirschers. And
No, there aren't.
no, they're not.
They're like 4.
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
So who here has been coming since it was called Minicon way back?
No,
On and off.
CONvergence was not originally Minicon.
No, it was
No,
not.
it wasn't.
Correct. However,
Minicon
there's still
still
Minicon.
exists.
Yeah.
Minicon is still a separate entity.
Minicon didn't want to have all of us with
Right. Minicon used to be the 800-pound gorilla, and then they decided they didn't want to be the 800-pound
Please
gorilla.
don't make me revisit that whole email chain that I got to read with various people when that implosion happened.
No.
PTSD time.
I'm being nice.
No, you're being nice. I
I'm
meant
being
him.
nice and brief. So Minicon was the 8 billion pound gorilla,
It was
and they
the-
decided they did not want to be that heavy of a gorilla.
Yep.
And they did it in a way that people didn't want to be part of the smaller gorilla. So they went off to make their own gorillas, and therefore CONvergence and MarsCon.
Yep. Yeah.
CONvergence and MarsCon both were created out of the same
Out of that whole mess.
thing. But yes, Minicon still exists, and MarsCon still exists, and there are 8 billion conventions in this town that have fractioned off. And
Yeah, actually, I think that was the
various times.
biggest positive thing from my point of view of that original fractioning, as much as there's horrendous politics around it back then, is now we have 3 major science fiction conventions in town of varying size, this being
More
the
than
largest.
that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Starting
'Cause
with
we have
those
the
3.
anime conventions
Well, I
as
was going to get to that. As
Yeah.
we have those 3. Now we have the anime conventions. We have the gaming convention. Con of the North still continues on to some extent. And we have tons of other smaller conventions happening. So I think it kind of opened up and made people realize, oh, we can actually do our own thing and do a convention. I just think the Doubletree radish tree is what we call it now.
It's a radish tree.
The
Because it
radish
was a
tree.
Radisson, it was a Sheraton, it was a Doubletree.
Has
so
is a
radish
glutted
tree.
for punishment because the anime convention was last week with 3,000 to 4,000 people. They're doing CONvergence this week with upwards to 7,000 registered. It's like, do you hate your facilities this much?
Well, the thing
Do you hate
is,
your staff? Quick, you have 4
actually-
days to clean. Yes.
No. Hotels love
Oh, yeah.
sci-fi and geek conventions.
Yeah.
'cause we
They
don't throw
adore
TVs in
them.
the pool.
For the,
We're not the Shriners.
okay, for the most part, geek crowds have at some point in their life worked in a service job, and therefore are very respectful of the space.
Yep.
We're very easy to clean up after. We look weird, but we're very easy to deal with. We're respectful to the staff. We tip the people who wait on our rooms. You know, it's great for.
We're not
for
a
these
sales
people.
convention.
We're not a sales convention. No, the people who are trouble for hotels when they have conventions are like the doctors and the lawyers and the people who are actually in positions of power. Once you get them in a convention mode, they just
Because
go
they can cut
nuts.
loose. They're not in their
Yeah.
normal
They
environment where people
go
know who they are.
bonkers. So yeah, once a hotel realizes that the geeks are really nice to deal with, they love geek conventions.
Well, but it's also a lot of money because they're booking all the rooms
Oh,
in
yeah.
the hotel. They're booking all the conference facilities.
Oh yeah. Well, if you're having a convention, no matter who you are, you're giving them money. But we also we're easy money.
Yeah.
We're so easy.
Wait a minute. I don't know if I like the sound of that.
The term generally is mark, but yeah.
Okay, final 5 minutes. If anybody wants to raise a topic or ask a question, now is the time to do it.
Okay, I will just mention one thing, because I don't normally talk anyways.
It's an audio podcast, so that's kind
Funny
of
that.
Yeah, I know.
But you do all the hard work.
Well, that's true.
I do the research.
Well, you do the research. He does the tech, and
Oh, come on,
and
let him talk. He
I
doesn't talk. Let him talk.
and Paul and I
Why
drink.
should we break the habit
this
of
is what
200
happens.
episodes?
Oh, there's 4 of you?
So,
We're giving him a lead-in.
Yeah. Okay.
Please proceed, Mike.
Go
So
ahead,
I was
Mike.
reading an article the other day, and it starts talking about Sam J. Jones, who, Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
Was that article on crack?
Yes,
he's a badass, man.
he is. Where he's got he left acting and he's now got this private security firm that does protection and extraction and things for VIPs in places like Mexican drug cartels, things like that. Just complete badass stuff.
I want to be
okay?
rescued by Flash Gordon.
Well, yeah. And one of the quotes in there was he was talking about this guy saying, I probably never would have actually hired you if I had known if I had realized ahead of time who you actually were. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that goes through my head is, are you insane? That's like a selling point for me.
Who does your security? Flash.
If I get
Gordon.
rescued by him, I want him to come crashing through the window while Queen plays in the background.
Yeah. That kind of goes for anybody, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. It's
I'm
like,
getting this image of a Mexican drug cartel looking really confused as they hear this dum 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 dum.
That would be awesome. I mean, if I had the money, I'd be calling him up. Okay, no, you're hired. Seriously.
I ran into him at San Diego Comic-Con several years ago. I was standing in the registration line. Now, there was a much shorter registration line for the famous people. I was working on Dr. Blink's Superhero Shrink at the time, so I got to be in the professionals line. And Chris Jones and I were standing right behind this gentleman, and we were both looking at him going, he looks like he was famous about maybe 15, 20 years ago. Who do you think that is? So we were surreptitiously kind of trying to figure out who he was. Eventually we figured out, that's Flash Gordon. Oh, that's St. Jones. He's right in front of us. Can talk to him? I don't know what to say.
Hi. I'm a fan of your work. Yeah.
No, you have to say,
here
what
often?
madness is this?
Oh, come in!
No, you have to say, Gordon's alive!
Gordon's alive! You're right. That is exactly what we should have said.
I'm sure he never gets
Never
that.
What do you mean, Flash Gordon approaching?
I always wanted to be that one. What do you mean? Yes.
Richard, you said something to Mike a minute ago about the article being on that Cracked website. Do you know? Does that have anything to do with the magazine I used to read when I was a kid?
Oh yeah.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yes.
The logo's the
The Cracked. I think they're not doing the print anymore. They just went entirely to website. That is the Cracked magazine and
Yeah, like
just
the
going
Mad
to
magazine.
Yeah.
You know, for the poor kids.
Yes.
Although it's much more. I got to be careful how I say this. It's much more grown. I was going to say adult humor, but it's not really that. It's more grown up humor now for sure.
Yeah, it's quite different.
Yeah, Mad magazine came from very odd origins as well.
yeah.
Because Mad magazine actually grew out of EC Comics, which were the comics from the 50s and
yeah.
60s that
horror
kind of
comics.
the horror comics, the detective comics, the things that were kind of down and dirty and really base level entertainment. The stuff was great. But once the Comics Code Authority started, a lot of the original comics code was written to drive EC Comics out of business. It was very specific. Like there is a rule that said you cannot use these words in your titles, which basically negated everything that EC Comics was doing. So EC Comics could no longer publish all their titles. So what they eventually wound up doing was, instead of going to staying in comics, they started making a magazine called Mad, or Tales made to drive you mad.
Drive you mad.
Yeah.
And I think it was actually in comic form for like the first 5 issues.
Yeah, and there was always a strong comic form element, but it was in magazine format, so they weren't necessarily under Comic Code Authority. But that wound up being their main publication, and they shortened the title to Mad Magazine. And that's how EC Comics survived. And then eventually they were bought up by DC and were being published under the DC banner.
Yeah. But no, I remember Crack. That was the one I wrote about. I was
Yeah.
a kid, next to my issues of Eerie and Creepy and all the Warren Ellis stuff that was coming out in the 70s. Well, with that, we're just about out of time.
Yep.
So I'll just take a brief moment to remind everybody that we are on the web. You can go to thegeeklife.tv, where you'll see the hangouts and occasionally the postings. We have 2 email addresses available. We ask for story suggestions to go to stories@thegeeklife.tv. And anything else, if you want to tell us how awesome we are or how much we suck, that would be talkback@thegeeklife.tv. We have a voicemail line at 612-567-6515 for people who hate email. And if you go to our website and click on the Google Talk link, if you are in the United States, which I'm assuming most of the people I'm looking at right now are, Google Talk will call you instead. We are on Twitter as The Geek Life, Twitter is The Geek Life TV, Facebook is The Geek Life, where I usually post my sarcastic article links, and Google Plus is The Geek Life Podcast, where we do the hangout.
Yep.
So, until you hear us next time on the podcast, I have been Richard, along with Paul
Adios.
and Mike.
Shout outs to my awesome family, just because I was threatened.
That sounds really dark, Mike.
And that was Melissa.
Bye-bye. What the hell, Mike?